Let's start this episode off with a bang. It's Kawasaki time. So that other lunatic I mentioned just did this on a bench and holding it down with his knee or something, but I've put mine in the vice because I'm very aware of safety and health, otherwise known as health and safety. Decided to attack it from a different angle. Oh yeah, need to turn it on. The wires out of the way, so we don't chop through those. Be good. No sparks, how disappointing. I guess the upside is we didn't catch fire to the cloth. Is that hot? No. Warm. Anyway. You get the general idea. Notice in both cases I'm cutting from the back of the piece so that if it did slip and gouge something it wouldn't be on the front facing part of the part. Clever, huh? Not so clever is the filings in my Perno. Yeah, not quite the additive I was looking for. And there it is, roughly in place. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave it black, paint it gold, or down to the bare metal like Matey Boy did. Not sure. Oh, I nearly forgot. 2 surprises from China today. Firstly, a piece of string. Pretty sure I didn't order a piece of string. I think it's supposed to be decals for the wheels. So not happy about that. However, the nice surprise, I don't know if I've mentioned before, but when the 748 was delivered to me, the guy dropped it in the trailer. It wasn't his fault, the belts broke. Tiny little scratch on the rear tail and tiny little scratch on the side fairing, which I never bothered to get repaired. But I did order myself a new tailpiece, and it's a mono rather than a MonoPosto. And I have to say, the quality is amazing. And they even emailed me to say, oops, we did the wrong paint job. Would you like us to make it again or send you another one? But I like this. It's beautiful. And it's really sturdy stuff. Way better quality than the kit that I originally had on the Augusta. So yeah, not so bad. Something else to do when I've got nothing better to do, I guess. Put that on, and then I'll let you know how well it fitted, because that's always the other issue with these aftermarket fairing pieces, that they don't quite line up the same. So yeah, I'll let you know. Nearly forgot, while I got the chopper out, I'm going to carve this up because I'm not going to sell it on eBay. It's horrible condition. Yeah, I'm going to chop it up, see if it works as a kind of headlight fairing. Not vastly different from last time I laid it on there, except there isn't a bit dangling around at the back there. I'm not sure about that. I kind of like it. I think I'm going to pursue it further at least and tidy it up a little and paint it. Yes, then we're back into the gold or black again, aren't we? I think probably just matte black. Don't really want to pick that out because it's never going to be very pretty. See, after I dug a hole in it, oops. Good thing about borrowing tools from Kurt is that I had to take them back yesterday and have a look at his marvellous truck. It's a Ford 30-something. It's a flathead, I know that much. And look at the beautiful, I mean, just the paint, the everything. He has stripped this down to the bare bones and literally top to bottom restoration, which is kind of funny because when he first got it, he wanted to keep it original.
Yeah, it's never going to happen, is it? Fantastic work.
Stickers. We like stickers, and I really like that. It's really subtle. What do you think, monkey? Hey, so good? So the other geezer rounded those off pretty much as I had marked mine up before seeing the video. And I'm debating, having cut them the way he initially cut his first, I'm debating leaving the little pointy bits on as a kind of difference. So, yeah, that one needs tidying up, obviously. But, yeah, that's kind of cool, right? I think I'm going with that just to be different. I can always do it again later. Just a thought, following on from the stickers. I know it's a C, but I mean, how would you do a K? I don't know. Having a rest. Still playing around with bits and pieces that might do this job, might not, don't know. It's the other way round. After the disaster with the fuel tank and the fuel with the MV, I was going to wait until Derek came back with that tank to see what kind of a job he made of it and maybe give him this one. But I've decided to do something different because I bought a black engine paint as well, just in case the gold exhaust didn't work out to my liking, but it did. And the paint was wonderful actually to go on, a little bit more pricey than your average. So I'm going to use this. Yeah, and I'm going to give it a spray because I've decided on a kind of semi-gloss black to match the frame, so it all blends in with a design, of course. I'm going to give that a go then. And yeah, not now because I've got other stuff to do, but later on in this episode, undoubtedly, like tomorrow. Better prep these up at the same time. It even resists chipping, cracking and fading. And being heat resistant and fade resistant in the Arizona sun, that's a good thing. Found a little split in this one, so I've just used a little super glue actually, or Gorilla Glue. Side panels came out quite nicely actually, very pleased with those. Yeah. And as I expected, it ties in nicely with that kind of semi-gloss on the frame and you know, engine covers and things like that. So yeah, I think that was a good call. Tank likewise, desired effect. I need to probably do a little bit more finishing on it before I sprayed it, honestly. I don't know though, paint is looking pretty good. Purposely filming it in the dark. Yeah, you can see there, right? Yeah, needed to prep that better, but it was experimental, and I think I'm kind of happy with the direction it's going, so I shall continue in that direction. Oh yeah, and I sprayed this up at the same time just for a giggle. Yeah, I'm kind of liking it. I don't know how. Obviously, that needs repairing. I don't know how I'm going to attach it yet. I suppose that's the next thing. Makes sense to come off those speedo mounts, these boys, but yeah, don't know, but I kind of like that. Kind of covers up the bulbousness of the headlights. Don't want to be mistaken for a Harley Davidson, especially as it's a V-twin. I also noticed my old tank pad kind of similar shape, so that might work like this, maybe. Having stretched those tubes out with those 10mm bolts, which is kind of a funny story, it fits a little bit better, but I still can't get in that last, I don't know, what is it, 5mm? So my other switch turned up and it's got a momentary and a lockable, which is exactly what we need for the kill switch and the starter. However, it's all about a question of whether you mount it upwards or downwards and what gets in the way. Because there's all this clobber. So that'll be another hour of my life just working out what's the neatest way to put that on, and then duplicating it over here because I liked it underneath, but apparently it might have to go on top, and we wouldn't want them to be the other way around, right? Rubbed it down with a bit of wet and dry, so it's not showing its best side at the moment. But yeah, you get the idea. It blends in beautifully with the frame, doesn't it? So yeah, I'm going to order some more of that paint. I'm going to do this a little more. There's actually a little nick in there where I got one of the decals off, I think. So yeah, I'm going to do the whole, give it a rub down with some wet and dry, the whole tank, and give it another coat or two. But yeah, here you can see what it's going to kind of end up like. I like that. Yeah, might even pick that out in gold. What do you think? That tank raised filler cap area. Back to these multiple choices as previously prescribed. So this is one, actually having level. Not so sure. Obviously could move this further up because we're about 5 mil hanging over at the end. So yeah, could do that. Could do kind of underneath, but slightly angled up because everything gets in the way down there. No, actually it's only the cables. Okay, so they would actually mount like I got on the other side, I suppose, if I fed the cables up over the throttle cable. And you got this gap either side, which is a bit there. Then we got the more conventional position, i.e. above the handlebar, which I'm leaning towards actually, despite the fact it's still got that gap. Where? Here. You know, I mean, I don't know, maybe I just spray that bit matte black so it doesn't show up so much. But of course you can't see it so much, and it looks a lot neater from the front, I have to say. So I think I'm liking that, especially with the cables tucked back underneath the throttle cable. Yeah, lied, it wasn't an hour of my life, it was 10 minutes, but you know, all counts when you get to my age. That's 42, by the way. Another 17 seconds to flip the other side. Great album by The Cure, by the way. Alright, that's spooky. I just mentioned The Cure, and on my random Spotify playlist for today, guess what came up next? I hate these devices that listen to you. So I'm not looking forward to all this switch wiring, mainly because I probably should have left at least the kill switch and the starter alone before trying to put everything back together and start the bike up again. But right now it's dangling down there, and I've got to hook it up to this boy. And then of course we got this weird and wonderful immobilizer thing, ring thing in there, which I hope is back in place and shouldn't be a problem. We got to mount the speedo, obviously, because that's an integral part of it with all that stuff that goes in there. So I think it's a less than 50-50 chance this thing will start again when I wire these up, according to the diagram that came with the other switches, that one, because the last two that I bought had no diagram whatsoever, so we only have to assume that they're similarly rigged. And that's a hell of an assumption. When I sit and stare at this, there's a number of little things that irritate me, as you already know, the wiring. And actually I'm wondering, you know, why don't they put it in the frame, right? You just got to drill a hole one end and down the other end and feed it out wherever you need to. I think that's what I'd do if I was really doing a total custom. Maybe next time I get even braver. But anyway, yeah, so there's that little thing, that horrible blue plastic shit. Need to do something about that. That irritating me. And this little guy down here, which is clearly a bodge job. Don't know what to do about that. Don't know what kind of electrical fitting actually should be within that cap. So, but it's just horrible, isn't it? I'm thinking it's close to one of these spark plug leads, honestly, and not sure if I can make it work. It doesn't quite fit. Tried it. Little gentle persuasion, and it fitted. And now it's a little bit loose, actually. Well, I like the theory because it's neat and tidy, and that would fit inside that fitting. But the reality is that this has like a C-clip, like a little ridge in it, which is, it's gone out of focus. And get out the way. This has a ring behind. Yeah, you can see it now. And that's why this particular bodge job works nicely. It stays in place and just looks a bit ugly. I have another idea. There you go. So what I did was actually snip that spade, or female spade, so that it fitted inside the rubber fitting. I don't think that's the final solution because it's a little bit loose now, like that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it's the final solution, but it's not a bad start. Can't believe such minutiae is bothering me at this stage in the game, but it kind of is. Much nicer. Even tidied that one up too at the same time. Yeah. Lovely jubbly. Uh-oh, he's gone sheath crazy. Well, there was a little bit left over and it fitted that perfectly. On to the next irritation. I'm going to spray it. Most people would take it off. I'm not going to. However, this is not going to work. Much better. You think I'm joking? You know me better than that by now, right? Just enough left to do the job. 5 hits with the spray can and job done. So this is interesting because I'm now investigating the starter and kill switch. This goes into this box, and those are the indicators, by the way, so they're irrelevant, and they don't even go into that box. So we've got 4 wires going in and 1 billion coming out, and hang on, it's got caught up. Okay, 1 billion coming out, and 4 coming out the other end. So I think I need to cut all this shit off. A, because we don't need the length, because here's what it's going to connect to from the switch. But B, I just want to know where all these go, right? Because 4 going in, 1 billion coming out, doesn't make sense. I still have my handy, what is it? It's not a Stanley, is it? It's not even a Husky. What is it? Olympia tools. Yeah, anyway. Knife. And there we have it. So all the red and yellow do that. They terminate. I don't know if I don't think they're joined together. I think they're just kind of cut and shut. So that's a bloody waste of time, isn't it? Can anyone explain that to me? Please leave comments. I'm always willing to learn. Again, did I say electric at any point in this conversation, or is Spotify just being really creepy playing Our Friends Electric by Gary Newman, who I had the pleasure of spending a day with once? Very nice chap. So this makes no sense at all to me. Ignore that, because that's not part of it. So let's assume all the red and yellow shit is irrelevant, right? Because it comes out the bottom. This is how it goes into the top. I'm going to label these wires. So it's blue, white on the left, red, white, then black and red, black. Next, coming out the other end is red, black, red, white, black, blue, white. In the opposite, almost the opposite. I mean, does this thing switch them over in the middle? And if so, why? It's illogical, Captain. Then there's some things that look like they're scary, because that looks like a big ass crack in a tyre, right? But it's not. It's a manufacturing seam in the rubber. Don't panic. Shimmied all that along the handlebars, just enough to flush this up. And then I'm actually using the bolt from the mirrors that I took off instead of these bolts, because the nuts sat inside the fitting here, which then butted up to those metal bits and stopped the handlebars from the grip from going right to the end. So rather than drill that out, I'm going to make use of that. I'm just going to drill this slightly bigger to accommodate the bolt from the mirror. There we have it, in place. Lovely. I really like them actually. Yeah. This side got a bit of a gap. May shuffle all that down the handlebar again. Don't know. See how it goes. Makes sense actually, because that's where the mirror's going to hang as well, and we want that as far out as it will go. So yeah, there, that's better position. So we're all good there too. Handlebars sorted out. Put some on the fuel lines. It's a little bit long probably by the time I need to finagle them into the bottom of the fuel tank, but it's protecting them from the heat of that cylinder a little up there. It's a little bit too small. I might get some bigger stuff. I might not. We'll see. Just working out what kind of seal I've got on that fuel line. And I think if I get because the other problem of course is now that this metal clip doesn't want to come up because it's super wide, and it was just a nice fit, as you can see. It was fairly loose, yeah, on the tube itself. Of course now it's got this super thickness, it's not so tight, but you know, I think that's going to be okay. Going to get that metal clip up a little bit further and clamp it down. And with this one, I might even just sand off just a little bit of those barbs just to make it slightly smaller, just a little bit. You'll be pleased to know that I worked out where everything from this went, dangling around, and I can now reroute it behind the frame. So no more whining about how ugly it looks, apart from the fact that it's going to be, yeah, a minor improvement to the bodge job, which I think needs resolving properly now. Everything else is looking good. So we got that all tidied up, that relatively tidy, that will tidy up when we put everything back on. And we have no ugly wire around here, and no ugly wire down there. Haven't worked out how to secure that yet, but I'm getting there. At the moment it's just there under its own steam, hidden away. Happen to have this lying around and some other gold paint, so I thought I'd just try out these, see what they look like in gold, even if I redo them in my engine paint to match. So, they're outside drying in my painting oven, which is otherwise known as Sedona, Arizona. I think it's 90 something degrees out there, and they'll be ready in just a jiffy. And there we have it. Matching mirrors. How cute. Finished baking outside, at least long enough to just loosely hang it from those top mounts to see what it looks like, and I rather like that gold actually. I mean, yeah, I like the fact that they are gold. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get another can of this same gold so that they match, but yeah, overall I think that kind of follows through nicely. Would you agree? Yeah, I think that'll do it for this time. Covered quite a lot of ground, I think, and actually this is coming along really nicely. Not too much aggravation until we try and start it again, of course, and that might even be next time. So yeah, thanks for watching again, and do tune in, see if the monster is reborn. If you haven't subscribed, why not? Get on with it now, please. Thank you. All helps the cause, and of course invite others to watch my lunacy.